welcome to Revelations of a Delusional Knitter. I'm Angela, your host. This is episode 141, and it is Tuesday, September 6th, 2016. On to updates and housekeeping. Welcome if you are new. If you are returning, I thank you as always. Either way, I hope you enjoy the show and continue to watch. The show is on iTunes, YouTube, delusionalknitter.com, and I also embed a link in the Ravelry group, Revelations of a Delusional Knitter. I'm on Instagram as Delusional Knitter, and if you are not a member of the Ravelry group, come on over and join. Declarations. What's been going on? The weather's getting nicer. We've been getting some rain. It is raining today, and it's that like drizzly, misty, dark, dreary day, which is why I have my hair up, because I did not feel like fighting with it today. I could spend time straightening it, and then it will just go and get curly and big again, so I just put it up. It's been getting cooler, which is nice, because I don't like the summer. I don't like it at all. Although I'm always freezing in winter, so whatever. Guess I can't be happy no matter what. If it was 70 degrees and sunny every day, I would be happy with a little breeze. If I can wear hoodies and be comfortable, I'm happy. It's also getting darker out earlier, though. I don't like that. I cannot stand winter when it gets dark out at like 4. It's awful. So I've been noticing that, and I dread it. But I love fall, and it's my favorite, so I'm excited about that. We did go the other day, actually Saturday, today's Tuesday, to see KISS in concert. And we've seen them before, but it was really good. They put on a really good show. And the best part was, we got tickets for like the balcony, like the highest up, you know, the least expensive tickets, because we've seen them before and whatever. We just wanted to go, and we really weren't concerned about really good seats. Plus they have those humongous the screens that you can see everything on, so you really don't need to be up close. You can see everything just fine. They have huge video screens, and they have them on the side, and they have them in the center, so you can see just fine. However, I'm assuming they didn't sell out. So instead of having people spread out all over the stadium, what they did was they bumped people up. So I had gotten an email a few days before the concert that said, you know, due to production or whatever, your seat's been relocated, go to this door, when you get there, we'll give you your new tickets. Well, apparently a lot of people got relocated. There were a lot of people there still. Like, it was pretty packed, but there were a couple of sections that they just put black curtains in front of, so those must have been the ones that got relocated. I don't know if they did it first come, first serve, because I had purchased the tickets back in April, because there were still people behind us, so it's not like they moved up everybody. We got bumped up 2 sections and over 2 sections. So if the stage was here, we were going to be way in the corner over here. And we got bumped up 2, so we were in the section next to the floor, and over 2, so we were in the section next to the stage. So it was pretty awesome. We were really excited about that. And it was funny, too, because when we got our tickets, we went in, and we got our seat, or what we thought was our seat. While we were waiting for KISS to come on, we had missed the first band, which was fine, because we didn't even know who they were, so it didn't matter. And we heard some of them. They actually did a really good version of Helter Skelter that we heard while I was waiting in line for a pretzel and beer. Because I have to get a big, huge pretzel if they have them, and I was so excited that they did, because actually I think I mentioned it before we even got there. I was like, I want a pretzel! Mm! And of course you have to wash it down with a beer, right? So we heard that while we were waiting, but then we got our seats, and we got in our seats, and we're sitting in our seats, and, you know, la la la, we're waiting for KISS. You know, all the lights are on, they're still setting up behind the curtain and everything, and blah, blah, blah. And then a guy comes down with an usher, and she's looking down the row, and she looks at us, and they were playing background music, so it's kind of loud, and she looks at us, and she's, like, pointing at us and pointing at his ticket. And he comes over, because we were pretty far down the row, and he looks, you know, he shows us his ticket, and I was like, oh, is this 106? We're 107. And he's like, yeah, but she just told me this was 106. And I'm like, well, she probably knows better than we do. So we walked out to the aisle to her and said, you know, showed her our ticket. And she's like, oh, no, no, you're over there. So we were even closer than we thought originally. So that was pretty funny. So we got to move over even closer. So it was really cool. And it was a really good show. They put on a really good, like, lights and lasers and pyro and fireworks. It's really fun. So that was a lot of fun. We had a good time. And it's in Worcester, which, well, If you saw, I'm laughing because nobody can pronounce Worcester if they're not from Massachusetts. It's spelled like Worcester, but we say Worcester. Which is only like half an hour drive, so that's pretty cool because we got home at like 12:30. So the concert got out at 11:30, I think. We had to wait in the parking lot for a while to get out. But it's a nice drive, so. And while we were there, waiting for KISS to come on, this stadium also hosts like hockey and stuff like that. So they have the big thing in the center that would be like the scoreboard and stuff. They were advertising future events. And my husband, I was just eating my pretzel and looking around and whatever. My husband elbowed me and he's like, oh, they have Megadeth coming next month. And I looked up and I said, oh, that's cool. Megadeth is like one of my favorite bands, but I've seen them several times. So if I could see them again, that's great. It's not a huge deal. And then I looked and there were 3 bands below it. It went so quick, he didn't see one of them. So I said to him, oh, and Suicidal Tendencies. And he looks at me and he goes, oh, I've never gotten to see them. I'd love to see them. So I looked at him and I said, oh, I guess we're going to Megadeth. So we bought tickets for that. And they were a little less expensive than KISS, so we actually ended up buying tickets in the same section that we got bumped to. So that's pretty cool because they'll be pretty good seats. And that's fun. I'm looking forward to that. I do love Megadeth, so I would love to go. But since there was a band he wanted to see playing that he'd never seen, I was like, oh, then we're definitely going. I did want to ask, I put a note here to myself, because when I upload to YouTube, I also publish to Google+. I was just curious if anybody actually used Google+. Does anybody use Google+? I rarely use it. There are a lot of people on it, a lot of podcasters and other knitting type people, so I'm just curious if you use Google Plus and what you use it for and who you follow and stuff like that. So I'll put that in the comment on when I post the episode on Ravelry, and you can let me know what you think of Google Plus if you use it or whatever. I'm really not familiar with it at all. I put it on there. I don't even know if anybody watches it on Google Plus, but I was just curious about that. So, on to Revelations, what I've been working on. The Baby Mine sweater, because that has a deadline, so that will most definitely be done before it's due, which is October 15th, I think is the baby shower for my coworker. It's not her baby shower, but she's hosting it for her friend. And I have a sleeve done, so I've just put it on some DPNs to hold it for now. And came out really good. That's my tail. So that's one sleeve for this sweater. And it is a newborn size. It may look short to you, when I show it to you, but because the arm, the shoulder, actually comes down to like the mid bicep of the baby, so this is plenty long. And I've left, you have to graft like 8 stitches on the underarm to the body after you join the sleeve, so I'm hoping I left plenty of yarn to do Kitchener stitch. And then I have started the second sleeve. So on this sweater you do both sleeves and then you do the body bottom up. You join the sleeves and then you decrease for the neckline. So I've started the second sleeve and I just have like the cuff done right now, but they're pretty quick. So I'll be moving along on that. And I love this pattern. I love the baby. That's by Stephanie Pearl-McPhee. You do have to pay attention though, because the first sleeve I had to start over 3 times. The first time was because I'm doing a magic loop, but it helps if you shift. I have a marker here, you'll see, that's actually the beginning of the round. It helps if you keep shifting the stitches around a little bit, because the yarn overs will sometimes fall at the join where the needles are. And if you leave them there, that one yarn over will be really distorted and not match up with the other ones. So I shift it around so that I always have some regular stitches in between the yarn overs on either side so that it's not in the gap. Then I realized that I was doing one of the stitches wrong. So I had to undo it again. I probably got this far every time too. So the first beginning part is a slip 1, purl 2 together, pass slip stitch over. What I was doing initially was anticipating the purl 2 together. I was bringing the yarn forward, then slipping the stitch, then purling the two together. So I had a piece of yarn going in front of every one of those stitches. Not what it's supposed to look like. So I ripped it out again, and then I started again, and then by then I was doing wonderfully. So it came out fine after that, but it was just funny. Because I'm like, oh my god, how many times can I redo this tiny little sleeve? Let's see, what else do I have? Stitch surfers. I still haven't touched them, but I would like to soon. Now that I've got some of the sweater done, I'm less concerned about time. So I will pick this up again. I have the first sock done, and that's in the Mustache Yarn Droids R2D2 and some knit picks that I had in my stash that I thought coordinated pretty well. And I have started the second toe, and I have that much done. So those are going well, and it's a fun pattern, and it's free. It's a really fun pattern. And I was smart enough to, I usually don't do this. I usually don't leave myself notes at all because I think I'm going to work on a project quickly and, you know, consecutively, which never happens. I was smart enough. I have learned in my 10 years of knitting, I have finally learned some tricks to help myself. So I have made a note here of the first sock, how many rows of, you know, this way I went, how many rows of this way I went, how many rows until I get to the heel, and things like that. And yeah, that'll just make life so much easier because I won't have to sit there and dissect the first sock to try and figure out what I was doing. And those will hopefully be done soon. Bigger on the inside, I haven't touched anymore, so that's just sitting there. That's probably going to take forever. I did find, though, a lot of people, I don't know if I mentioned this before, so bigger on the inside is, you knit the top sideways and it's the lace, and then you pick up all the stitches and you knit down, and then it's all TARDISes across the bottom of the shawl. A lot of people, instead of doing a nup at the top of the TARDIS for the light, they put beads, and I think I'm going to do that. And I was looking at beads online. I was going to get some square beads because the light at the top of the TARDIS is actually kind of like a rectangle or a square. And then I was like, really, you maniac? Just use some in your stash. I have so many beads in my stash, and I know I have some nice, big, clear beads that will work just fine. And they're big enough that they'll look good as the light at the top of the TARDIS. So I'm just going to use the ones in my stash and not buy more beads because I have plenty. And that's pretty much all I've been working on for knitting and crochet. So let's move on to string theory spinning. So the August spin on the Yarn Therapy Zone was Snyder spindles, which I have quite a few of. And I was spinning up some Into the World BFL and nylon, superwash BFL and nylon, in the Serenity colorway, which is this gorgeous greens and purples and blues. So I've been working on that. I did finish one spindle. I just broke the fiber, separated it to do a couple of different spindles. So I did finish one spindle. So here's my gorgeous cop. And it came out really good, and I'm very happy with it. And this was my hummingbird spindle, which can't see them anymore because the cop is on top of them. But I finished that up, and then I have another spindle that's somewhere. It's just a drop. It's a Snyder drop. It's got a nice Celtic whirl. I think I showed it before. That is another chunk of the fiber. And I think what's left in here is probably a third, this bottom bit. Now, for some of it, I did a hand spun swap on the Blaine Fleece and Fiber group. I'm going to be tongue-tied all day, by the way. And my swap partner really liked purple and blue, and green not so much. So one of the sections I went through and I pulled out all the purple and the blues, and I was left with the green. So what I'm doing with that, so this is all that's left of it, and what I'm doing with that is for September, the spin on Yarn Therapy Zone is FW Aussie spindles, and I got one as a Tour de Fleece prize. So I am doing ply on the fly on my Aussie spindle, and it's coming out pretty good. There's a little tuft here at the end because I have to connect again, but that's my ply on the fly, and I'm enjoying that. So if you're not familiar with ply on the fly, first of all, I have a tutorial video that you can go find on YouTube or delusionalknitter.com. Ply on the fly is that you spin your single. So here you can see I have, whoops, dropping my spindle. I have a single here that I'm just temporarily winding on to the spindle. And then what you do is after you spin up a length of a single, you stop and you ply it back on itself so that when you're done, your yarn's all plied. So it's pretty cool. It's fun. I still have the fluffy bump on the supported spindles, and there's not much left, so I'm hoping to finish that up soon and ply that. There's just this much left. And then I have the merino on the road bug. That's going to take forever. That's 4 ounces of a super thin single that I planned on doing as a gradient, and I was going to chain ply. I have Polwarth on spindles, and that's also going to take forever because for whatever maniacal reason I decided to spin it super thin. So this one's also going to take forever because I have 4 ounces on both spindles. I might even, I don't know, if I get sick of it, I might even just do like 2 ounces and then do something else with the rest of the fiber. I don't know. Then I have on my Traveler, I'm really enjoying this spin a lot. I'm spinning it thicker than I usually do. It's a really old fiber from my stash. It's probably like 5 or 6 years old. I don't even know how long I've been spinning. I should probably look that up. So it's a really deep stash, so I'm excited about that too. It is some Wool Gatherings, BFL and C-Cell, and it's really fun to spin. The C-Cells drafts very differently, and it's almost like silk, which is good that I'm spinning it thicker because it kind of is a lot easier to work with than trying to draft both fibers at the same time. And it's this gorgeous color. It's called Fruit Salad. It's like a rainbow. So what I'm doing with this one is I'm trying to keep the color progression the way it is, and then I'll chain ply it. So I'm just spinning from the braid like this, and then as I get closer, you know, I'll undo some more, I'll pre-draft a little bit, but I was trying to keep it all together. So that's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's like, it's got red, yellow, green, orange, purple. It's great. I guess it's just missing blue, huh? I just noticed that. So that one's a lot of fun. And am I spinning anything else? I hope not, because that's ridiculous, isn't it? So, in Testaments, I have something to talk about, because I might have gotten a new wheel recently. So I did have some things that I spun on the new wheel. I just did up a quick sample of some BFL just to try it out and see how it spun, and I plied it up and it works awesome. So that's just some BFL. That was a lot of fun. And this one's in the colorway Sansa from Game of Thrones, and that's from Into the World. I'm sorry. Oh, God. Every time I pick up fibers, they fly all over. I get some in my eye, I swallow some. And I also had some leftover a long time ago. If I knew where the skein was, I would show you. When I wanted to learn ply on the fly, I had pulled apart an Into the World braid and separated out the colors. So I had some like green and purple, and then some purple and red and orange kind of thing. So I had some left over. When I got the new wheel, I wanted to try spinning something, but I didn't want to break up a new 4-ounce fiber, and I didn't know how it was going to go, so I didn't want to ruin any fiber. So I found that bag with the half of the fiber left in the, you know, part of the colors. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. So I grabbed that. So I spun all that up, and I spun this all, not in one sitting like I didn't get up, but all in one sitting as in all in the same day. Like I got up to get a drink, go to the bathroom, took little breaks here and there, you know, it was a couple hours, but I spun it all. I couldn't stop spinning on the wheel. I was having so much fun. So this is just for fun, and I'm probably going to chain ply it back on itself. And I'm not sure I remember the colorway name for this one, but it's BFL from Into the World. If you can't tell, BFL is like my go-to fiber. I find it the easiest to spin. I'm very familiar with it. So if I want to try out any new technique or equipment, I always grab BFL because I know how that spins. So it's not a question of, well, is it the fiber, or is it me, or is it the wheel? I know how the BFL spins. I know how I spin it. So that's the best thing for me to grab if I want to try something new, or like ply on the fly. Just makes it so much easier when one of the equations, you know, one of the variables is not in the equation, then you know that it's either you or the equipment. And that works out good. But I think that's all I've been spinning on. lots of spinning this year. This year has been all about spinning, which is fine because I have a humongous stash. But that's good. So, scrolls, we have nothing. We will have no book reviews for this episode. So the next section is Testaments, and my camera's going to run out of time, so I'm going to pause here, and I will be right back with some goodies. Okay, on to Testaments. So I'm sure you've heard me talk about Mustache Yarn Star Wars series again, over and over and over. Well, I got the other installment I was talking about, which are the Masters, and it's Obi-Wan and Yoda, so I'm super excited about that. I did the same thing again, where I just got the 2 half skeins of the companion skeins of the 2 different colors, because I can get a pair of socks out of half skein yarn. And I like this one a lot. You can see there's the 2 separate, so they're just wound together, they're not attached, but this one's Yoda and this one's Obi-Wan, so that's very exciting. And then she, of course, had to put out another installment, so I had to order more yarn. This time she did Boba Fett, Leia, Han, and Chewie. I just got 1 companion skein of Han and Chewie. Although Leia and Boba Fett were pretty awesome, it's getting a little ridiculous at this point. Because I now have, like, I know I have C-3PO and R2-D2 I've used. I have a BB-8 whole skein. I have the last one I showed you, which was Luke and Vader. And now I have this one. So I have, oh, maybe it's not that ridiculous. I have 3 that I haven't used. For some reason, though, I feel like there's another one in there that I'm forgetting about. Maybe not. Maybe it's the one I just ordered that I'm thinking about. But anyway. So, yay. So the coolest thing, you might have noticed it on my spindle. Some people on Yarn Therapy Zone use these to hold their fiber when they're not spinning on their spindle, these little guys. And what they actually are they are wine glass identifiers. So like if you have a party and you have a lot of people drinking wine, you put one of these little guys in a stem, then everybody just has to remember which color their glass was, and they know which glass is theirs. So they come in a package with 6, and they're not that expensive. It was like $7. It was 6 something for the set. And they're nice because they're actually like soft. They're very rubbery. They're not hard plastic, so you can just put it on your spindle. You know, they'll give a little bit for wider or thinner shafts, and they don't damage anything because they're pretty soft. But they're super cute. I love them. And they're so much fun. So those are those little guys I got. They're on Amazon. And there are different shapes. They even have like a cat one, but it really sat on like the bottom of the glass, so I don't think it's too wide to sit on the spindle. But if you look up like, oh, I forget what they're called, like wine keepers or wine watchers or something like that. They're super cute. And my new spinning wheel I got. As you can see, this was the bobbin for one of the bobbins. So one of the main reasons I was really interested in this wheel is that the orifice is huge and the bobbins are huge. So you can fit a much thicker or a lot more yarn on the bobbins, and you can spin a lot thicker through the orifice. It's pretty inexpensive as wheels go. It's made of reclaimed hardwood, so it's all wood. It's not any, particle board or manufactured parts or anything like that. And they're really rustic and really cool looking. What I did, because it's really dark and dreary out today, so I'm not sure the lighting is so good over there. I do have a picture that I took the other day of it, so I can show you. So I have a Roadbug, a Traveler, and now the Cassandra. The Cassandra's the one in the front, and the Traveler and the Roadbug are in the back. So the one on the left here is the Cassandra. So I was super, super excited about that. Been having a lot of fun with it. And I got the package deal, so it's JMS wheels. I ordered it the end of June, so they're made to order. And when I ordered, they had a special that may still be going on. I think they might have redone it for free shipping, so I probably saved $30 to $50 right there. The wheel itself is $250. I got the package for $275, which includes a Lazy Kate and 4 extra bobbins, which is an excellent deal for another $25. And I'm super, super pleased with it. It's a really nice little wheel. Also, I think it's the package now. I don't know if they threw it in because it was a little delayed. They were a little behind on making them, which is fine because they kept people updated. I also got the Delta Orifice flyer, which I wasn't expecting, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, you'll see more of that, I'm sure, because I will be spinning on her more and more. So she's different than the other 2 wheels. The Roadbug is a completely different animal. It's just, it doesn't have a drive band. It's the sideways one. So the wheel goes this way, and it's got a whirl at the bottom of the flyer that pushes the flyer. So when you spin the wheel, it pushes the whirl for the flyer. The Traveler is a standard. It's got a cotton drive band that's driven by the it drives the flyer, but it's, attached to one end of the flyer, and then the brake is on the other side. The Cassandra has a whirl on the back of the wheel, so when you spin the wheel, it spins that whirl, and it goes up to the other end of the flyer that's not attached to bobbins or whirls or anything. The whirl's the bottom part, and that's how that spins. And that has a nice, like this stretchy poly drive band. So they're all different. That's why I like them, because they're all completely different and they all work a little bit differently. But the big orifice was a huge selling point for me. Not that I spin thick all the time, but I could if I wanted to now. Or art yarn. You can definitely do art yarn on it because the orifice is huge. Plus they have the Delta orifice too. So that's exciting. So exciting! That's all I have for Testaments. I actually have another spindle I got recently too that I should probably just show you. It's getting so ridiculous. My husband came in here the other day. I was sitting here doing whatever, knitting or whatever. And he came in. He was just standing there. I think he was going to bed. He was saying goodnight or something. And he was like, look at all the spindles. And in my head, I'm like, you've no idea that there's probably twice that many that aren't actually on a rack. Because there's more, down here stored. And there's some over there in a vase. They're all over the place now. It's getting really ridiculous. But I had favorited this one when I saw it, because it was really nice size, and it was a really unique looking spindle. And I was just poking around Etsy. Again, I don't know why I do this. And it was still there. Nobody had bought it yet. And I was like, really? Because she had even posted it in one of the vendor threads on one of the Ravelry boards. And most times when they post pictures of stuff there, they're gone. Because somebody will go snatch it up. And it was still there. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy it. So it's on the turn, which I've showed before. I have another one of her spindles. And it's this really cool, she does drop spindles that she calls sombreros, and they pretty much look like this, except it's got a hook at the top. This is a supported spindle, so she used the same idea with the sombrero for the whirl, but it's a supported spindle. And it's also like 9 1/4 inches, which is my absolute favorite length. So I had to get it. And it's this gorgeous wood. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. So I also, because her prices are so ridiculously good, got another spindle bowl, and it's in a local to her wood, which is mesquite, and it's a gorgeous bowl. It's really gorgeous. It's this nice, lovely, and it's a really nice height. It's super smooth. I like it a lot. So yeah, more spindles, more spindles. I should really one of these days go through. I do have some stuff categorized and logged. I should really go through one of these days and make like a list of all this stuff for my homeowner's insurance. Not that somebody's going to come in and steal my spindles, but if we had like, a natural disaster, there's probably like $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 worth of equipment in this room. Yeah. I think our personal property covers that. But then it wouldn't cover the rest of our personal property. So, yeah, something to think about. I also did a swap recently, and I'll be in 2 more soon that I will tell you about. So we did a hand-spun swap on Blaine Fleece and Fiber, and Letty was my partner. So I sent her some stuff, and she sent me some stuff, and it was a really nice, low-key swap, $5 limit, couple of goodies, some hand-spun. So she sent me this lovely purpley yarn. It's like a heathered purple. It's really gorgeous. So that's her hand-spun sample. And then she sent me some awesome goodies. She made a bag a little Notions bag. It's really nice. And it's got, this is Bad Wolf from Doctor Who. And inside is a fabric called Tao of the Doctor. And it's got all these quotes from various doctors and their companions. So that was really cool. That's fun. And then she sent me some other goodies, some really yummy teas and some awesome office stuff. I got some Post-its and a cool pen with a smiley face. I love that. And also, she found some really cool stickers. They're planner stickers because I do the bullet journal. So some really cool stickers. So that was a lot of fun. That was a really fun swap. And I had a pleasant package. And it arrived timely because that day that it arrived, I had stupid overtime at work. I had 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. overtime, and then I had to go back 4 hours later for my regular shift, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. So while I came home, the mail arrived, and I was able to have a fun package, so that was fun. Another thing I got on the Yarn Therapy Zone, I'm super lucky in this group because I win, like, every month. In Tour de Fleece, I won 3 times. Tour de Fleece, though, they had enough prizes for every participant, so everybody got a prize, but I won 3, so it was crazy. So I won this really cool prize from Monica, and I think I talked about it before, the Gelato Talenti. Well, a lot of people use the containers as storage for their spindles. Now, I don't know if they're available in my area. The ones I have are pints, which are small, but you could still fit a mini Turkish in there. This is a quart. So you can fit, I can fit my Aussie spindle in there. So I got a Talenti jar to use as storage, and inside she put like 10 samples of different fibers. That's super fun. That arrived today, so that's really cool. I'm excited about that. And yeah, my Aussie will definitely fit in there. So that's exciting. Prizes, who doesn't love prizes? And intentions, Delusional Knitter Designs. I don't have any new designs coming out, but what I was going to do, because we have not seen our friend yet that I made the Pinguino mitts for, and I don't even have them, they're in the closet. I was going to knit a pair for myself in the reverse. I had made hers orange and black. I have leftover yarn. I'm going to make mine black and orange in my size, because the reason the pattern isn't out yet is because the size I made for my friend for the sample are way too big for me, and if I take pictures of them on myself, it's really not going to do the pattern justice because it's going to look weird. So I'm going to make a pair for myself that I can get photos of and release the pattern. So that will be up next after I finish the baby sweater. Hearsay, Hogwarts at Ravelry. The new rotation started yesterday, and I was able to enter my sample hand spun already. I got 210 points in the last rotation, so that was awesome. I found some new fun things. The Super Sock Scare Fest, that's what the group is called in Ravelry. Their sign-ups are through October 1st. It's a sock knitting thing. It's almost like Sock Madness, like patterns are released throughout October. And it's free. And you can go check that out if you want to sign up. I did. So I'm pretty sure they're Halloween themed socks in some way, even if it's just the name, not particularly looking Halloweeny. But that sounds like fun. And then on Blaine Fleece and Fiber, we're going to do an October swap. And that one I think is similar to this one I just showed you, where it's very low-key, you know, only $5. You can go stash diving as long as your stuff is as new condition. And that's going to be a lot of fun too. That one I think was just yarn or fiber or hand spun, depending upon what your partner could use, and some other little goodies like you saw here, tea, you know, little notepads, little things like that. Really low-key and fun. So the thing I forgot to mention on the last episode on my board is previously some members and I have talked about doing an ornament knit-along for Christmas, or whatever holiday it is that you celebrate in December or towards the end of the year. So I was wondering, given all these swaps I've been doing recently, if people would like to do an ornament swap, because I think it's early enough that, you know, a small thing like that is totally doable. So on the Ravelry group, there is a thread that's called like ornament swap poll, or I don't even remember what I called it, but it has the word ornament swap and poll in it. So if you're interested in that, go over there, because there's 3 polls and they're short, and I I just want to get an idea of what people want to do. So, like, one is just asking, do you want to do a knit-along and a swap, or just a knit-along? And then the other one pertains to knit-alongs, how to organize them, you know, if they're paired partners, if it's secret, etc., dollar amounts and things like that. So go on over there if you're interested and get on the poll, because I want to start sign up soon so that people have enough time to do everything. I haven't hammered it out yet, so if you are interested, keep an eye on that, because I will be posting more information soon. The Epic Knit Along in my group is still going, so don't forget about that one. That one will go through the end of the year. New podcasts. I did find a new podcast. I've only watched one episode, so I can't say too much about it, but I really enjoyed the episode that I watched, and it's called Handmade and Woolen. And that one's very interesting, so if you're looking for any more podcasts, go check that one out. Ravelry patterns. I do have some Ravelry patterns for you today. And we have Grandling by, I'm so not going to pronounce this right, Taja Hillard Designs. This one is free. It's a really cool sideways shawl with some color and some simple lace, but it comes out really nice. And that one uses fingering weight yarn and US 7 needles. The next one is the Ron Weasley blanket by Jackie, where's Bicky? Probably just totally butchered her name. I don't know that I've shown this one before because I've seen it before, but it's a squares blanket, and it essentially is a pretty good representation of the one in the movie that Ron has on his bed. So, if my tablet would cooperate. Nope. Pushing buttons, nothing's happening. Okay, so it just gives you a bunch of different squares, a bunch of different colors, but it's a pretty good representation of what his blanket actually looks like. So that's pretty cool if you got leftovers, or you've wanted to do a blanket, or you really like Hogwarts and Harry Potter, whatever. It's free. And that uses, well, anything. It's a blanket, so you can use whatever you want. I think the sample one is worsted because they're using size 8 needles, but obviously you can make it bigger or smaller or do whatever you want. So that one's fun. And the last one I have for you is Vanilla-esque. It's a sock pattern. It is by Sarah Ronchetti. It's $5. It's got this really cool, I don't know what this stitch is, to be honest with you, but it looks really cool. Down the side of the sock there. I don't know if it's a slip stitch thing. I don't know. You know, it'd probably help if I read the description, because it probably tells you. Why would I do that? That's super easy. There's another one. So obviously fingering weight yarn. It's a sock. Let's see if it says. It's a small cable. Knit without a cable needle. And, you know, she mentions once you've got it a couple of times, it's super easy to remember and continue to work. So, that one looks pretty cool. I like that one a lot. Those are your Ravelry patterns. Bullet journaling. So, I got back on track for August. Because July, I don't know if it was Tour de Fleece or what, but I totally got off my bullet journal. I wasn't filling it out. I wasn't filling out my tracker. I wasn't even using it. So I got back on track for August, so I'm excited about that. And I think I finally figured out the best way to do the next month. So the last week of the current month, I start setting up the next month so that I don't have to do it all in one day. Because I like to draw the calendar and do my tracker and all that stuff. And it's kind of a lot to do in one day if you don't have a lot of time. So I have my September calendar. So that's pretty cool. I had fun with some stickers. Did I just say I got back on track for August? That's not, it's September. I don't even know what day it is. I don't even know what month it is. I have my tracker going again. As you can see, I'm actually filling out squares. This will be my September goals page once I write them down. I actually have written them down, but I wrote them really messily, so I wanted to write them nicely in here. My weekly spread. So I have the week, and then I have some things I need to do. And I like this one a lot. I had a nice quote from Maya Angelou that I saw that I lettered pretty well, I think. And if you can't read it on the camera, it said nothing will work unless you do. So I liked that one. And yeah, that's fun. So I had some other things I wanted to put in here. I wanted to make, I've seen a lot of people have really cool movie page spreads, so movies that you've watched. Like I did the books I've read, which by the way I've totally not caught up on in my other bullet journal, but someone did it, I have it on Pinterest, where they did almost like tickets. And there's like tickets all over the page, and then they filled in the movie title and stuff, so that was really cool. So I want to do one like that. Delusional Jabber. Arts and crafts, nothing much else been going on. I do want to get back into Zentangling, because that was a lot of fun, but I haven't gotten back into it yet. Reading. I'm still on Wool by Hugh Howey, and that one's going very well. I have to continue on with that one. I'm like 70% done now, I think, so reading it at work. Harry Potter, I finished the Order of the Phoenix, and now I am desperately awaiting my next credit from Audible so I can order the next book. I don't have much more, I think, what's today, 8 more days, I think? I think it's like the 14th or 15th that I get my credit. TV, Fear the Walking Dead is back on, and that is fun as always. Yesterday was a holiday, so they're usually pretty quiet at work. By the way, we never use the Q word in dispatch. Never. It's blasphemy to say the Q word in dispatch. If anybody says the Q word, everybody else in the room goes, "Oh!" because you just jinxed us really bad. But holidays are typically I use pleasant and peaceful in lieu of the Q word, so that's what they usually are. And yesterday was. It was Labor Day, and it was pretty peaceful. So I started watching Orange is the New Black again. I thought I had only gotten through season 2, but thank God for Netflix. When I logged on to Netflix, it had, it keeps track of what you've already watched, so I was able to pick up. I just went back one episode because I couldn't really remember what was going on, so I went back one episode, and I watched a couple of episodes at work yesterday, so that was fun. That's a really good show. I really enjoy the backstories of the characters, the flashback stories, and what landed them in jail. That's one of my most favorite things about that show. And if you are at all a fan of Ozzy Osbourne, there's a new show on the History Channel with him and his son, and I don't know if it's Ozzy and Jack or Jack and Ozzy, I think it's Jack and Ozzy's World Detour. So apparently Ozzy Osbourne is a huge history buff. And what they're doing is they're going around the country. They're in the U.S. now. I don't know if it's strictly U.S. or if they go to other countries as well, but the first several episodes are in the United States. They go around the country to various historical landmarks and other places and film themselves, just checking the things out. It's really funny. It's, typical Ozzy. He's just out there sometimes. Really way out there sometimes. So, it's a lot of fun. And yeah, like they went to the Alamo, they went to like some missile site, they went to Mount Rushmore, things like that. That's what they're doing. It's funny too, because sometimes they'll be out somewhere, like I think they were at the Grand Canyon or something, and people will be like, "Oh, Ozzy, can I take your picture?" And he'll stand, he does, no complaints, no, he just, stands, takes the picture, so it's really cool. Movies. My last 2 days off, I was just tired and just unmotivated and just didn't want to do a thing, so I had movie day, because I do that every once in a while. You need to decompress, you need a mental health day. I needed one of those, so I did movie day. I watched The Good Dinosaur, which was really good. I love those movies. You probably know I've mentioned that before. I often watch, like, the Lego Movie or, kids' movies, because they're fun and they're light and, whatever. And that one was really good. And I also watched The Other Guys with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell, and that was really funny. It was really good. I used to not like Will Ferrell, and now I really like him. I don't know why I used to not like him. He's kind of because his humor is obnoxious, I think. But he's actually really, really funny and really good. Especially when he's playing a very serious person, because that was the thing. In The Other Guys, Mark Wahlberg is kind of like anger and off the wall, and Will Ferrell is very serious. Like, they're both cops. They're both the other guys because they're awful at their job, but they're really not. They just, whatever. Will Ferrell's character is a forensic accountant. So he's very serious, straight-laced, tie, very, whatever. So it's really good. They're both old movies. I watched them on Stars or something. So that's all that's been going on, I think. Yeah, I think that's it. Those are my movies. And I actually think I followed my show notes and told you everything I meant to tell you. So that's fantastic. And I think that's it. So I thank you for joining me, and happy knitting and spinning.